So is it just a matter of shifting where you want to be, shifting your consciousness into a dimension you'd rather live your life in, a happy life, enjoying yourself? Is it that simple? I'm done with the fear mongering, no matter how negative it gets. I mean, no matter how, the videos and the stuff that's out there, even the ones that seem like they're putting out some good information, they come up with something that's fear mongering, and I'm done with that. It's time to shift into something more my liking. And I see it all around me. So I really do agree we need to take the information that we have learned from the flat earth material, the Mandela effect, any time information, any time experiences we've had, if we heard from other people. I mean, there's got to be a way to take this stuff and learn from it and use it. The ether's involved. Other people have talked about this. Life Matrix, I'll link him down below. It's time to move on from that. Okay, we've all picked out Mandela effects. Now we have to move on. But we have new people coming in for the Mandela effect. So we're putting them things out. New people learning about the flat earth, we're putting those things out. I know there are people out there that don't believe the Mandela effect is real. That's fine. I have my proof that I know it's real. Something's real about it. I mean, what it is, I don't know. Most of it's speculation. But as soon as I decided to pull away from the Mandela effect, I noticed a video from Sean Indico that's about JFK assassination and how many people were in the car when JFK was shot. For me, it's totally different. And this is a really big Mandela effect to me. I mean, but I studied it back in the 80s and 90s. So, for me, I know how many people were in that car in another reality, or what I recall. I mean, it's something that's real to me. So, I mean, and I have other things that are real to me and things I haven't even spoken about. I know the Mandela effect's real. But I still believe it's a stepping stone, and we have to move on from it. Once you get over that shock and change your perception of what is actually going on, you can, discover other things and move on from there. Finding this on Sean Indico's site, it started to pull me back into the Mandela effect. And, I'm going to pay a little more attention, but I need to go a little further than that. Like I said, Life Matrix has mentioned the same thing. There's something else. There's new people coming in, so they can see these videos and the old videos on flat earth and the Mandela effect and the time experiences people have been having. But for me, I do believe it's about me. It's an individual thing. We're all in our own little dimensional pockets. I said that in some other video, and that happened to be mentioned on Bashir's things. I wondered, did I hear those things? Because I haven't really listened to him in a long time, but I've listened to him, Abraham, other people. They're all kind of saying the same kind of thing in different languages. So are we. So, that's what I'm doing. I'm investigating some other things that'll take me a step further. I'll keep you guys up to date. But in the meantime, I think a lot of that information, I'll link everything I can down here. There's any Bashir information that I link is directly related to Flat Earth, Mandela effect, or some kind of time, or living on Earth. And the things he says are just, were very striking to me. But I'm not promoting anybody. This is about me, and it's for me, and I hope it can help other people. But I'm not going to get pulled totally back into the Mandela effect or flat Earth. I'm going to help people about it where I can, and I'm going to move on from there. So I called a young lady over who I know, and we had a discussion about the Mandela effect. And she noticed quite a few things that were different. She thought it was really strange. I explained to her some of the theories out there, and she just thought it was great. You know, we both started laughing, thinking, "Wow, this is great. There's nothing to fear." You know, but I went through the whole thing, and she started getting into how she believed, oh, the law of attraction probably has something to do with that. You know, your vibrations and how, you know, your whatever you're putting out, that's what you're going to get. So when there's a major shift, wherever your thoughts are, that's where you're going. And she really got into that. Then I went ahead and tried to put her on camera, and this is what happened.
Get that.
For me, even though I'm using the Mandela effect differently for me, the information on Flat Earth, the information I've come with other paranormal uh, experiences, I'm using this as information, but I'm remembering some of the past experiences I had, and I do want to share them with some people if it may help them or they find it interesting. Uh, Something in particular for me was music. I was studying a group, and the members of the band came in the band and left the band a little bit differently after about 6 months of me studying them, and then changed back. It wasn't that significant. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I did know about the Mandela effect. It was Pink Floyd. Um, and I noticed, I've seen on a video that they talk about how most of their album covers are flat planes. And one even has a stepping stool. If you turn it upside down, it looks like a stepping stool on top of a dome. Um, so it's like they knew something. Dark Side of the Moon mentions, I don't know the verbatim on the lyrics, but it's something like if the band you're in starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Found that interesting since their words have changed for me. Um, I was listening to The Wall. The first side speaks to me as the Mandela effect, memories, clinging to third dimensional reality, clawing for the thin ice. So that whole album, that whole side anyway, really spoke to me with that. I was listening to Another Brick in the Wall, and I heard them say break in the wall instead of brick in the wall. I listened to it again, same thing. Um, the first time on the whole side, the first time it would say it, it was brick, but every time after that, it was break. So I went ahead and wrote that on the Mandela Effect site, and I got a few replies. One from Fiona Broom, who has traveled from America to England and would understand the accent. She said it was disturbing that, yeah, they are saying break. And, you know, I heard break. The next day I went and listened to it, and it said brick straight through. I just couldn't understand it. It sounded like a different recording. It was really upset me. The day after that, I was just listening to it again, and break came back. One time they said break every time, but ever since then I've heard it brick and then break straight through the rest of the half of the album. I find that extremely weird. I believe they're calling Taking Down the Veil a break in the wall. But other music has affected me like that as well. For me, this song was always a Bob Dylan song. Stuck in the Middle with You. It's always been a Bob Dylan song for me. Until one day this group comes out of nowhere. People have heard of them. They know them. Steelers Wheel. That's the group who supposedly always has done it. For me, Cats in the Cradle was always sung by Cat Stevens. Now it's, can't recall the gentleman's name now. Somebody else that I've never heard of. There's a couple other music things that were posted on that site that I found very interesting. I'm going to post some links. One's a good link on Pink Floyd and a playlist that I put up for Flat Earth in music. And enjoy.
I found an absolutely great video on explaining how to shift dimensions, um, certain vibrations. It's really detailed. I recommend watching the whole video, but just watch the first 10 minutes. You'll get a lot out of that. You'll probably want to continue watching the whole thing. And I found this because, I've taken the Mandela effect and I've seen that as, okay, history's changing, why? And I look into that, and I look into the time anomaly things that have been happening to me. And, it tells me physical reality is malleable. Things change. We can change our own history if we really put our minds to it. I believe that. I heard that on the video that I'm recommending. It really felt right. It really resonated with me. As far as flat Earth, I discovered that life is not what we thought. We've been lied to, and it's different. I understand we're not on a globe, and I understand the reasons we were lied to. I don't agree with them. It doesn't really matter. I don't believe it really matters what kind of surface we're on. I think it's more about what you do with it and where you're at and how you're living your life. And that's the thing. For me, flat Earth was the trigger. I mean, when I first got into this stuff, the first thing I found was the Mandela effect. You think noticing history changing would be enough to change my perception, but that's what these things are showing us. These things are showing us that we can change our perception, and once our perception changes, that's when you start to notice other things. That's when things really start to happen. For me, it was the flat Earth. I got into the Mandela effect. That didn't do it. When I realized that I couldn't prove one way or the other whether the Earth was a globe or was flat, and I changed my perception on it, I realized it just didn't matter. But I knew it wasn't a globe. That hit me. That was my trigger. Everybody's going to have their own trigger. Different things are going to happen. And with the people that are stuck on being up in arms about being lied to about flat Earth, you're stuck in a trap. You're putting your energy in that. I'm going to read something here that speaks on that. When you try to justify where you are by pointing out the bad things, you are headed in the wrong direction. Reach for the thought that feels better and allow the natural well-being that is yours. Abraham Hicks. That's how I feel about a lot of things. There's also something to be said about letting go when people are fighting against you about something. Resistance. There's a good video I'm going to link here, Bernadette Dickerson put out, that'll speak on that. I think that's fabulous, and it just lines right up with this. I recommend that, but I definitely recommend Bentonho Massaro's video that I'm linking first. You really want to take a look at that, at least for the first 10 minutes. That'll really explain a lot, and what I believe is going on in the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to start creating my life, and we'll see how it goes.
Momentum. Since the 80s, I've been studying conspiracies and all kinds of things. So I kind of expected some kind of alien landing, since the late 80s, 90s, whatever. And now I see how silly that was. Now I understand how ridiculous that would seem. But I've had such a momentum going on that I'm hoping the orb experience was enough. I'm pretty sure any kind of alien invasion is going to be made up for a fear thing. I also think the false flags, what people call false flags, are they're getting bigger. The small ones aren't putting people in fear like they were anymore, so now they're getting bigger. Kind of see that going on too. Also, back in 2006, I spoke with a psychic
who was speaking to me about things I didn't understand at the time. He told me he was living in multiple dimensions, that we are multi-dimensional beings. And he was actually experiencing, I forget what the number was, 7 to 11 of them, something to that effect. At the same time, I'll have to talk to him again. I'll link him down there as well as Benito Massaro and Bernadette Dickinson. But the Massaro information, you really want to watch the first 10-15 minutes of that for sure. I definitely recommend it. It really seems to explain a lot of what's happening. Look at that. That's something. Beautiful out here. Gorgeous. Saw a video where they were talking about how you run into people that absolutely will not turn. They will not budge. We live on a ball, and that's the end of it. To the point where they'll get angry, but not all the time. But there's things that you could say to them, and it just doesn't matter. I think we need to spread the news, spread the truth, and let them people be the way they're going to be. Just like religion. I mean, some religions. Look, everybody can believe what they want to believe. You're not harming anyone else. That's fantastic. I have no problem with people who are good in their religion. They're, you know, that it works for them. That's fantastic. Well, the same should go for. Hey, if you're a globey or a flatty, it shouldn't matter. I ran into a guy, we were talking, he let me talk. I told him, you know, my points on basically how I couldn't prove it was a globe. And he listened, and then I listened to him, and he told me that he saw the curvature, and, you know, and I just talking to him about that, I made him think about it. But at the same time, he did not believe it's flat. He stayed on the globe, and, you know, we had a friendly conversation. You know, with the flat earth, it seems like there's going to be controversy no matter what. And I think we just got to go, you know, a step further, and let's not fall to that. Let's not, you know, fight. That's just going backwards. You know, it's funny with the Mandela effect, nobody's wrong. You know, you remember one thing, you forget something else, or you didn't recall, or you did recall. Nobody's wrong. Everybody's right. They were in their own, that certain dimension at that time when they remember certain things. You know, that's, I think we got to make a stand on this. Flat earthers have a unique opportunity here to, when you run into somebody, okay, yeah, the globe people come after you. Well, you can discern who the shills are and who aren't. But when somebody is who still believes in the ball, we have an opportunity to still befriend this person and, you know, get along. Let's all get along. I mean, it doesn't matter what they believe. You know, we can accept them for who they are, as they should accept us for who we are. I mean, if they're going to attack us, that's one thing, but we don't have to retaliate with force. That's all fear-based stuff, and quite frankly, it's ego. You know, with the whole flat earth, our feelings are hurt. Our ego is destroyed. We're like, what happened? Oh my God, we're so angry about that. Our inner children, our inner child is angry. You know, this is ego. We're angry. We're mad at this. That we're upset. We got our feelings hurt because we don't live on a ball like we've been told. We need to grow up and get over that. You know, let's you know, we talk about the life we want and how happy we want everybody to be and everybody to live in peace. Well, let's do that, and let's show everybody how we can do that.
Then in 2016, The earth shifted beneath our feet. The rebellion started.
No matter what flat earth map I pinpoint myself on, I'm in the same spot. I recently said on a video that I felt the Mandela effect and flat earth were stepping stones. I still feel that way, strongly. I also feel that flat earth is inside the Mandela effect, meaning that flat earth is part of the Mandela effect. Flat earth blew up. As far as the difference between the Mandela effect and flat earth was bigger. And that was because of all the information on YouTube, at least for me. There was more information on flat earth, which is good, than the Mandela effect. Mandela effect, a lot of people come out with examples and show us the changes, and we either agree with them or we don't. But which is bigger? Which should be bigger? What should we be focused on? With the flat earth blowing up and getting really big and growing and getting bigger, and then with the drama that goes along with it, I think we should be focusing on the changes and the reason and what it is. See, to me, you know, I first came across the Mandela effect, and that brought me to flat earth, which really opened up my mind more than the Mandela effect. And I don't understand that, because the Mandela effect was more proof. There's more proof for me with the Mandela effect than there is flat earth, for my own mind, for what I can see, for what's going on. And something is going on, and that's where we need to keep our focus. You know, I like to call the Mandela effect the observation of amalgamating densities. I don't know if that's what's going on. I don't know if dimensions are coming together, or if we're shifting through dimensions, and maybe our consciousness is shifting dimensions. But I think we need to keep our focus on the idea that physical reality is not what we think. It's changing, and we're changing along with it. You know, I've noticed changes to myself. I've noticed changes to people around me. You know, where do we go from there? I mean, we could sit and battle about the earth being flat and wanting to fight people who are denying it and lying to us, and that's not going to get us anywhere either. You know, we could sit here and place blame all we want. We could sit here and attack NASA and the government and the military. That's going to get us nowhere as far as the truth. They have parts of the truth, and now we're starting to see it. No matter what flat earth map I pinpoint myself on, I'm in the same spot. I'm just going to record little bits and pieces of information and then mesh them all together. I don't know how else to do it, because I got all these ideas that I come up with and don't write them down. It's not, you know, I'll have a pen and piece of paper on me. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in the Mandela effect. That's really not the point, and that's fine. You know, they're right when they say it's always been that way. They're right, because in this dimension, if my theory's correct, if the same theory as Benito Massaro kind of goes with, it's definitely right in line with that. If that's all what's happening as far as our consciousness is shifting into different dimensions, then yes, it's true. It always has been that way. But it's not faulty memory. It's not companies changing names and emblems and the title of their company. It's us shifting into a dimension where we're the ones that changed. Not, you know, it's not these things didn't change. They always were that way. our consciousness shifted into another dimension. So anyway, we have all these groups of different flat earthers believing different things, and that's fine. You got to do what you got to do. You got to be yourself. You're going to figure this stuff out on your own, in your own time. Maybe not on your own. You could do it with groups, but in your own time. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, the fear mongers and they're, oh, we're up in arms, and you know, I was listening to a lady on one of these shows, these flat earth shows. She was talking about how she wants to sue NASA, and everybody should stop paying their taxes, and everybody should get up and sue NASA at the same time. And they explained to this lady that, you know, you're fighting the system with their system. It's not going to work. You know, it's their lawyers, so you're not going to sue anybody. And it doesn't matter what goes on with that, because I feel like this you know, the discovery of the flat earth and the supernatural things that are going on with the Mandela effect are showing us that there's another way. We don't have to do all this fear mongering and up in arms, and oh, we have to get rid of the government. You know, hey, look, I believe if you vote, you agree with the system, so I don't vote. I think I voted for Perot. He was the only person in my entire life that I voted for, and I think that was because of an ex-wife. I wouldn't have voted then. But I mean, it's about the system. Well, I don't believe in the system. I don't put the system in my perception. I don't, you know, I'm living my life. I'm living in the system. I don't have much of a choice at this point. You know, I could be totally wrong. Maybe we do have to fight them. I don't agree though. You know, that's what they want. That's what they programmed you to believe, that if you want something and somebody's keeping something from you, you have to fight them. Or if somebody lied to you, you have to fight them. It's nonsense. You know, this to me, the ability to shift dimensions. I'm not saying I'm doing. I mean, I am doing it. We're all doing it. We're doing it unconsciously. But the ability, you know, to do that and figure out how to do it and work with it, or just maybe let it happen. You know, that's our way out. That's our way out of the fear mongering and the up in arms, and there's going to be war and the new world order, and you know, stop. Find yourself a nice little community and eat organic. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. What resonates with you. What you feel good. I've heard this comparison before, and I think it fits. Remember when you were a child and you first discovered that Santa Claus wasn't real? You discovered that the world wasn't magic, and you just grasped onto third dimensional reality. Be like everyone else. Get accepted by everyone else. Get a job. Do what you're supposed to do. The magic went away once you were told Santa Claus wasn't real. But compare that to discovering the Earth is not a globe. You know, you should have those same feelings, if not worse. You know, that's the comparison I see. It's the same thing. So your feelings are hurt. You're disturbed. I mean, that's upsetting. So what do you do about it? What did you do about it when you were a child? You got over it and did what was supposed to be accepted. So what do we do here? We discover that the world is magic and we were lied to. Once we get over being hurt and upset, this changes our perception of reality, and we know we can do something about it. We are at a learning stage, a growing stage, and it's where it's taking us. I don't know. I've been at this since September, so maybe it just seems easier to me now, or it just, I accept it from what I understand, from what I really feel is our consciousness is what is shifting, and your perception changes your consciousness to what you're going to perceive. When you shift, and it's a major shift, and you notice changes, you're changing bodies to another timeline to where different events happened, so your body formed that much differently, or the organs are different. Something happened throughout history that our organs became different. We were, whatever, genetically altered in a different reality. There seems to be a way to control this, to be able to control our future and control our past and change our past to where we would jump into a timeline where things would change. You would think, for the better, for what you're looking for what you desire, for what you desire your life to be. Well, I really like that Bentonho Massaro video on how he explains jumping dimensions and shifting dimensions, and I think he gives examples on how to be able to do it. So I'm going to link that. And also, I've said this before, flat Earth, your feelings are hurt. Let's get over it. Let's move on. Let's do it peacefully. Let's change our perception and see what's going on out here so we can live on a beautiful planet, that we know we can make. We know we can do this. That's where this is going.